I just wait for another minute. Okay, Silly, at least someone is there. Thank you. Okay, good, fine. Fine. So the law of karma, the law of action. Actually, the literal translation of karma is action. And often when we hear about karma, we take it a bit heavy. Or people tend to take it a bit heavy. Oh, that's my karma, or it's this one's karma. But what does it really mean? And actually, there's another coin also. There's another side of this coin. And that is this law of karma. This puts actually ourselves into a place where we can be master of our future. So we can direct in what way we want our lives to be developed. So this is one of the main aims of tonight, to show that. Basically, the law of karma says, for every action, there is a reaction. So this is a little bit repetition of what you would have heard last time already. But in the physical world, it seems so obvious. There's an action, and we can see there is a reaction. We can measure it because it's physical. We can see it, we can observe it, we can hear it, we can measure it. But in spiritual, it's not so obvious, because sometimes the reaction is much later. It can be 1 week later, 2 years, 10 years, or 20 years later, or even next life. But also we are not so clear about. So what will be the return when I do this? Is this now something negative? Will I get something negative back, or is it positive? Sometimes even about that we are not so sure. And here what is important to understand is that it is my intention that determines the quality of my action. So I always take the one example. Let's say a surgeon who does an operation, and this surgeon, he really from his heart wants to help the patient. That's his pure intention. So he wants to help his patient. During the operation, something happens. Let's say the patient dies. Is it now a good action or a bad action? A good karma or a bad karma? So we understand that because the intention of the surgeon was very pure, he really wanted to help. It's not a negative karma that he created for himself. But let's say this very same surgeon, he takes it too lightly, and he meets his friends at the evening before the surgery, and he thinks, oh, that's an easy job, I have done that so many times. And then next day he's not rested, so he's careless in this sense. And then a mistake happens. And then it's different. Then this carelessness is also mixed into the intention. I don't know, maybe there's some who haven't been here last time, but let us experience how it is very natural that we get a return for everything we do, we give. And let's do this exercise. So I, the soul, it's not the body that has an exchange with others, but it's I, the soul, who have an exchange. Just reflect for one moment. Let's do the same reflection for work. And there I find it's very obvious that when you give something good in it, you get something good back. You know, from your colleagues, be it the atmosphere only that is created. So think for a moment about your work. What good? I mean, this reflection is very practically for you personally. What good do you give personally in your work, and what do you get back? I hope and I think you can see that, isn't it? Even, for example, for a task, when you give in some goodwill, some time, some interest, you will get a good results. And this good result will bring good reactions from your colleagues, from your boss. Same, let's say friends, we skip that, same with health. What do you do for your health and what do you get back? Even there I find it's very obvious. When you do give proper sleep, and when you do sports, and when you do have a very healthy diet, a little sugar and all this, we know that you will feel it. You will get a good energy. You will get a good feeling for your body. You will find it's easier to get up in the morning. And all these benefits. So same with nature, same with the Supreme Soul. Supreme Soul is a soul like everybody else. Only he doesn't have a body. So when you invest in a relationship with one of your family members, a work colleague, when you invest in a relationship, definitely you get return back. So if you invest in a relationship with the Supreme Soul, when you look again for this loving connection, when you do have a personal exchange, when your thoughts, when something happens, not only go to others, but go to the Supreme. When you share your happiness, your thankfulness, not only with others, but also with the Supreme. It's like you're building up on this relationship. And you would get the return of it. I see that very clearly in my life, actually. Very clearly. When I do invest in this relationship, when I do have a loving conversation, and when I do, during the day, do my breaks and connect with the Supreme, then for example in the evening, when I sit for evening meditation, I just feel the difference. And I have a very distinct feeling here, a very loving feeling. And it's very easy to connect. And it's like sometimes it's even I feel that not only I am connecting with him, but he's also connecting with me. But this is really if I only do the effort. And it's a very lovely experience. And when I do less effort, if I don't invest in this relationship, I'm now also speaking of my personal experience, and then this fades a little bit away. Or when I do the effort of remembering again and again, I am a soul, immaterial, eternal, a loving soul, then also I give myself in the same wavelength like the Supreme Soul. And then also connection is experienced more natural, more real. Anyway, this was now a little excursus what happens when we invest in this relationship. Now, this law of karma is actually very interesting because we can understand it very easily, and then we will see life in a different way. So I think we all understood that that when I do good actions, and good actions, I don't only mean physical actions with my hands, but actions also with my words, even actions with my thoughts. And we understand that with our thoughts, we also create our karma. I come back to that. But with every action, we plant seeds. Here, positive seeds, where we get, I hope you can see that, you have here very nice fruits on the tree, so you get very sweet fruits. And when you plant negative seeds, and then you get bitter fruits. So now a question. I can't remember whether I asked that last time also. Let's say your neighbor is a very lazy guy. He has never worked, but he has everything he wants. He has a good house, he has a wealth, he has just everything he wants. He just has. But he never worked. So how is this possible? What does the law of karma tell us about it? Is it injustice that this guy is wealthy, has everything without work? Or is it just like that by accident? Actually, the law of karma says, no, it's not an accident. This soul is reaping the fruit of his past actions. So he must have done something good, that he is able to reap this good fruit. But the same person would also have difficulties in his life. And this is actually for all of us. We all have created good karma, and we all have created negative karma. Negative, in a sense, karma that brings us not happiness, but rather sorrow. And we all have both. And we did mistakes, because of two reasons. Because we didn't know any better, or I didn't have the power to make it better. That's why we do mistakes. So it's not really something to feel bad about. It's only something to realize, oops, that is not good, that was not good, so that we can learn from it. But it's not something to repent. Even in the past, when we look back, we all think, oh no, this I should have done differently, that I should have done differently. Of course, now, then we look back, we would do things differently, of course, because we are not standing at the same point. Maybe, hopefully, we have a bit more wisdom, maybe we have more power, maybe we are just more mature as a person, so we would do things differently. But at that point, It was what I managed. It was what I understood that I should be doing. So I just did that. If now I think it wasn't good, okay, let me learn from it for the future. And that's it. I know it's not always easy to do, just to let go. But it's important to understand that it's easy to say, oh yeah, I could have done it differently. But what I want to say is, no, we couldn't have done it differently. We have done the best we could at that time. So we all have our little backpack. So before I want to go into more details, sometimes we hear that in everything there is something good. In everything there is something good. And for quite some time I really thought, how can I accept that? How can I understand it? If something is obviously so negative, how can I believe that there is something good about it? And suddenly, in my intellect, in my understanding, it made click and I could understand. And I think the reason is, I give an example. If someone never has money, so he's a pauper, a poor guy. So let's say I am this pauper, this poor guy, and I need to lend money from someone. And then, okay, it helps me, and then I do hard work, and I accumulate or save a little bit money. Let's say I borrowed 10,000 francs, and then with hard work, I managed to save 10,000 francs. But then, the friend who lent me the money, he comes to me and said, hello, Matthias, can you remember? I think you owe me something. You owe me 10,000 francs. And then I have to give the return. And maybe it hurts. I feel like, no, I worked so hard for these 10,000 francs and now I have to give it. So it may feel like a painful experience, but the depth is settled. And that's the good thing. It's not a pleasant experience, but the soul becomes free. I become free from that depth. And I don't carry this burden anymore. And so that's why we can say there is something good in everything. Now let's go one step further. Where did we accumulate our karma, be it positive or negative? Actually, we accumulate on 4 levels. We have a karma with the body, with the mind, with relationships, and with possessions or nature. Let's say with the material world. And I give you a few examples and then you will understand quite clearly. So what does it mean I have karma with my body? So every one of us has sometimes good health, sometimes ill health. And some people, they have a big challenge with their health. And so it seems that there has been some actions in the past because the soul didn't know any better or didn't have the power. So there were actions in the past that led to an illness, for example. And of course, this is not pleasant, but we can also not judge for others. Sometimes we think someone has an illness and we think, oh, he's really a poor guy. But this person says, hold on, I am happy. On YouTube, for example, you have many of these persons who say, I'm so happy, or they say, this is the best thing that could happen to me. Somehow they had the power to accept it and to make best of it, but even to use this difficult condition and make something very valuable out of it. So what I want to say, everyone has his burden. Someone may have a very good physical health, a very good condition of the body, but the mind is not so fit, so to say. Maybe sometimes a bit low mood, or maybe the intellect is not so clear. We would say not so super intelligent. But okay, now we can say, okay, someone has something with the body, someone has something with the mind. Another person has a very good body, meaning healthy, maybe even looks quite nice, and then the mind is fine. But then relationship. Maybe this person has 1-2 relationships in his life that are really very, very challenging. So, who is now better off? The one who has a karmic account with the body, or the one who has a difficult relationship, or the one who has difficulty with the mind? We can't say, oh, this one has it better than I have, or than I am, or for this one it's easier. No, everyone has his package. I give you an example, very interesting example that a woman in Australia, she told me many years back. She said that she has been living in a very difficult relationship, and she was treated in a not good way. But she said, I never had the idea that I could do something about it. Means that I could live, that I could just leave or whatever. But then, one day, in the morning, she opened her eyes and she had the thought, today, I'm packing my suitcase and I leave. And that was exactly what she did. She packed her suitcase and she left. And now what happened? It seems that there has been a karmic account between these two souls. And at some point, this karmic account was settled. And suddenly, the soul was free. She could see possibilities that before she was just not able to see. She didn't have this clarity. Suddenly, she could move on. I found it very interesting. Even a friend of mine, he said at work, he had such a difficult relationship. And he said for no reason. There was one colleague, from the moment they met, they had a clash. Immediately there was some eruption. And this went on for years. And then one day, someone said to the other, oh, come on, let's go for a coffee. And they went for a coffee and everything was fine. Karmic account was cleared. Interesting. You may also have, an experience, maybe within the family. Sometimes we have karmic accounts. And remember, the karmic account is between one soul or another. And maybe you find it very difficult, let's say, with your father or with your mother or with one of your brothers and sisters. Or as I said, at work, you meet someone and for no reason there is conflict. So you can assume there is some karmic account. It's on possessions, nature. Someone who is born in a very wealthy family. He doesn't have to work the whole life. He's He's just blessed with good, how do you say, good wealth. So it's his karma, it's his karmic account. Nature. Let's do again an example with nature. So the fact that we are living in Switzerland, it seems, I mean, this is only reflection, that just don't take it a one-to-one, what I'm saying, but just I want to stimulate your own thinking. Because the law of karma, after all, it's invisible. We only can understand, but we don't have the 100% guarantee what is what. And also the karmic account is not to constantly reflect, oh, what have I done that I have to experience this? No, it's not about that. It's about getting power for the future. But then it's the last step. The fact that we are living in Switzerland, it seems that we have a kind of good karma, a good relationship with nature. That's why we live in an environment that is relatively in a good condition. Yeah, is that true? So someone else, let's say, who lives in India. Someone else lives in India in an area where nature is not in a good condition at all. So we could say probably this soul has a less good karma with nature. Friends are very light and the family is very good, and at work. And what is interesting for us is, okay, I understand relationships, my environment and possessions. It's the creation of my past actions. Okay, I understand, I accept that, but now I'm interested. I want to create a good future. I want to be so considering now and so wise now. Can we do that? And actually there is 3 ways how we can, we could say, settle our karma, or yeah, there's 3 ways how we can settle our karma, how we can clean our karma, how we can create a good karma for us. One way is just to settle or to go through it. Let's say, so we could say the suffering, the pain, for example, it is settling of the karmic account. And after it's gone, it's gone. So this is one way to settle. It's like the example I gave you of my friend at work who had a difficult relationship. So the fact that he was in this difficult relationship and he had to work with this person, so through this it was being settled. But now we want to be more proactive. Because otherwise, if we would only be able, if this was the only thing we could do, only wait for the karma to be settled, it wouldn't be very empowering. But the question is, what can we actively do to change our karma, to create a good karma? What can we actively do? And what we can do is, this is the second way, how to create our karma, how to settle karma, to give. We could say give, we could say serve, or we could say with a positive attitude. Let me give you an example. If I am in trouble, with a work colleague, and he gives me a hard time for no reason. So I can understand there must be something between us, between this soul and I. Now, when I keep constantly being negative to this person, I understand that I keep creating negative karma. So not only I have then to settle the karma from the past, but I'm still creating, I'm adding on to the negative karma. And this is what I do not want to happen. So if I change my attitude and I do the effort, and this is the inner work, to remain positive and peaceful and respectful, even though this person is negative to me, and then this karmic account is settled in a much faster way. Can you see that? It doesn't mean that I am not allowed to set limits, for example, I can set limits, I can say stop. But let me be positive. Let me have good wishes for this soul. I heard someone asking Shivani, maybe you know BK Shivani. She's a quite famous teacher from the Brahma Kumaris. Millions click to her on her classes on YouTube. So someone asked her, is it possible that I have a karmic account with someone that it will take me several lifetimes to settle? It's actually a horrible thought when you think about it. Oh no, not only one life, but lifetimes to settle. But this was the question. And so the answer of Shivani was very interesting. She said, it's actually one thought. In one thought, you can change this karma. But how is that? What is the understanding behind it? So when there is a karmic account between me, myself, and someone else, and I have negative thoughts for that person, then it's these negative thoughts that make me suffering. And if I have a lot of negative thoughts, it even will affect not only my state of mind, but it will even affect my body. And now when I have the powerful thoughts, okay, enough is enough. I understand there must be something from the past. Let me change the direction. And then you change the direction of your thoughts and you start creating good thoughts for that soul. You get this? So the other person is still negative to you, but you start creating very good thoughts for that person. May you be peaceful. I wish that you can really be happy. I see what you're doing, but I understand you are unhappy. Or you're insecure. That's why you have to be so strong and so bossy or whatever. But I just wish you all the best. And you start thinking about the good qualities of this soul. So what happens? This person is still in his negative energy, in his negative thinking. But I have changed my thinking. So my suffering stops. Even though the other one is still negative, but if I have now no longer negative thoughts, but if I have positive thoughts, my suffering will stop. It will then take time for the other one also to change, but at some point he will pick that up and then there can be a different quality in the relationship. Or we could say the karmic account is settled. So I guess you can see that this giving is just a way to settle. Let's say my body is not healthy because I neglected it, because of any reason. Now, I need to have a very positive attitude and I need to give. I need to then take extra care of the body. I need to give him extra good food, healthy food, extra rest, extra treatment. So this is all a form of giving. And we do it naturally, actually. But what we are doing is we are dealing proactively or actively with an account, a karmic account with the body that was created in the past. So this is one way to settle a karmic account, just by suffering, by going through it, you settle. Second way, by giving, serving, positive attitude. And what is the third way? Because when you think, how many actions have we performed only in one day, leave alone in 1 year or in 10 years? How many actions would we perform in one lifetime? So we have many actions performed. That means we need a very powerful way to settle karmic account. Where are the karmic accounts? They are not flying in the air somewhere, but they are here in the soul. It's an energy in the soul. So what would be the third way to settle? You can read it here. With yoga power. It's actually quite logical when you think about it. What happens in yoga? In yoga, you connect with the Supreme Soul, or with Baba, as we say, with God. You connect and you draw this very powerful and pure energy in the soul. And many times you hear in our commentaries that the soul is healed, or there is light coming in the soul. And this means actually the past is being cleared. Karmic accounts are being settled, are being taken away from the soul, are being taken off. So this is, of course, a very sweet way to settle a karmic account, where you just stay in the focused connection with God, and you feel this energy pouring into the soul, and the soul is being cleansed. Karmic accounts from the past are being burned. That's why sometimes we hear the fire of yoga, because the karmic accounts are being burned. The soul becomes free. And you feel that. The soul becomes free. You feel the soul becoming lighter. And in this connection, there is something important to mention, and that is karma yoga. Karma yoga. What does this mean? It means that it's not only possible to have this yoga connection, this connection with the Supreme, with Brahma. You sit, and when you are silent. Of course, we can sit. This is very good. We need to sit and be silent, and then we can have a deep connection with the Supreme Soul, and then the soul is being cleansed. But also, while we are doing karma, while we are doing action, that means while we are walking around, while we are washing up, while we are cooking, while we are cleaning, while you are sitting in the bus, while you are going for a jog, or while you're driving a car, these are all actions. And during doing these actions, you can maintain a loving connection with the Supreme. And then these actions, of course, these actions are then powerful, but also every second when we are in this connection, the soul is being cleansed. And this is the importance of karma yoga. So I think I covered about everything, even without technical issues tonight. So I give you like half a minute to type a question if you have any. Otherwise, we will then finish with a meditation connected with this topic. I forgot to complete these pictures. The question is how we can free the soul from old karmic accounts. And as mentioned, these are the 3 ways. Okay, Sally has a question. Thank you. Genau. Yeah. Wow, this is a very deep thing, actually. This is a very deep thing what you're writing. Thanks for this question. Now, it's very subtle. It seems to be so normal that when we do something, we desire the return. So we do something and we want, let's say, the praise or appreciation of others. Or we want to get a promotion at work. Or we want to be recognized. These desires can be very subtle. I just want to be appreciated. But still, it's a desire. And so when we do actions with a desire, and even though it's subtle, it becomes a little bit negative. It becomes colored by this desire. And the return of that would be a little bit of suffering. And actually we can see that in our lives. Let's say you do something for a friend or within a family, you do it once or twice, 3 times, and you're happy to do it. And these are good actions, of course. But we do it and we don't quite manage to do it selflessly. At some point we think, I can't believe it. Now I have done it 4 times, 5 times, and he did not anything in return. So that means there was a little desire there, and then it is not fulfilled, and then we suffer. This is just one example. And so when the soul is pure, when the action is very, very pure, there is no desire for return. Not even a thanks, not even appreciation, not kind of honor or promotion or anything. You just do the action, the good action, for the sake of doing good action, because it's natural. It's natural to do good actions. And when we, the soul, when we have been pure, we have been in that state. You do something and you're absolutely free, whether someone sees it or not, whether someone praises it or not. Absolutely free. And this is just something we can actually practice. And doing it without wanting any return, selflessly. And actually the way, one way to do it is, one way to practice it, because we are so used to do it for something or for someone, and then this someone doesn't give a return, and then they're suffering. But we can consider ourselves to be an instrument of God. You know, we heard it many times, maybe in a religious way. Yes, we are instrument of God, but I mean in a very deep way. Let's say at work, you know, there is this person who gives you suffering. So how can you do good for him? How can you be positive with him if he creates you suffering? Maybe it's not easy at all. But then you can say, okay, I don't do it for you, but I do it for God. Because God wants to purify the whole world. He wants to purify every single soul. He wants to support every single soul. Because every soul is God's child. And so we can say, I just do it for God. In the name of God, I become an instrument of God. And so, like this, we can practice. I consciously say practice, because it's not something that we manage to do from one day to another. Sometimes we manage, sometimes a bit less. But this is what I can say to this question. And that's why we should not desire a specific result from our action, but also not be attached. So we do something the best we can, and then let the result be what it is. If the result is not good, okay, I have done the best I can. And we can then be really easy and let go. If there is something more I can do, I will do it. If not, that's what I could. But if the result is super good and there is a lot of praise, then also we can learn to be detached. Yeah, fine, I just did the best I can. So not to be attached to good results and not to be pulled down by negative results. We only can do the best we can. Exactly. Pure intention, egolessness, selflessness. That's on spot. That's what it all is about. Is there another question? So it's already time. Then we finish off with a meditation, a rather short one. I turn inwards and I bring my attention straight to the center of the forehead, where I, the soul, sit. And I understand that the soul has done a long, long journey with uncountable actions. And I just accept that I have always done the best I could. And I relax into this acceptance. And now in one thought, I forge a strong connection with the Supreme. And I let this pure energy flow into the soul. Clearing the soul from its past. And I feel that something is changing behind my forehead, in the soul. And I understand that this connection makes me free from all influences of the past. And in this connection, the soul starts shining anew. And now, while maintaining this connection, I can imagine how I'll deal with even difficult people in my life in a very positive way. And I see that it becomes possible to give positive and pure energy into all relationships. Purifying all relationships. And then for half a minute, I let this pure light, this pure energy of the divine flow into the whole body. This is also something very powerful that I can do for my body. And now let me bestow this energy onto the environment, the elements of nature. And while I'm finishing this meditation, it doesn't mean that this connection has to stop, but I can continue with my evening routine and still keep the connection with the Supreme. This is Karma Yoga. Yoga in action. Thank you very much for attending, and I wish you a very good evening, and tomorrow a good finishing of the week. All the best. Om Shanti.